Hello and welcome to section 3.1, writing expressions and equations. I want you to go ahead and press pause and then press play when you're ready to continue. All of this stuff should be written down in your notes. So what this chart is it breaks it up between our four operations. Okay, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and then you also see it has the equal sign. So what we're doing is we're talking about verbal expressions. So verbal ways to write equations. Okay, so for addition, these are some words that would represent to add. Taking the sum, more than, increased by, in all, plus. Okay, for subtraction, we have difference, less than, decreased by, less, and minus. Multiplication, we have each, product, multiplied twice, which means I would multiply it by 2. In times, division, I have divide, quotient, per, separate, and rate. And for equals, we're using the words is, equals, and equal to. So these are your buzzwords you're looking for in order to figure out where you're going to put your operations at and where to put your equal sign. So as we go through these examples, always feel free to come back to this and look at your chart to figure out your operations. Okay, so we're going to write each phrase as an expression. Remember, expressions have no equal signs in them. So the first thing I want you to look for is your operation. So I have 3 more runs than the Pirates scored. So I have the word here more than. Okay, when you have the word more than or less than, okay, this is, and more than is addition, less than is subtraction. You're actually taking the 3 and you are adding it to the number that's already, or that would be followed by the word more than. Okay, so 3 more than the Pirates scored. Well, we don't know what the Pirates scored. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to create a variable. This is my unknown. So you're going to have to create a variable for what the Pirates have scored. You can choose whatever letter you want. I'm going to choose P for Pirates. Okay, then I'm doing 3 more runs than the Pirates scored. So whatever the Pirates got, these other people, we don't know who they are, got 3 more. So when it's more than or less than, you are taking that number and you're either adding it or subtracting it from the second number in your sequence. Okay? And this is my expression. This is my answer. I do not put an equal sign because it is an expression. So there will be no equal sign in my answer. Therefore, I'm not looking for an is or an equal or an equal to in my problem. Okay, let's look at the next one. 5 less than x. So my operation here would be less than, which is subtraction. And what am I subtracting? I'm subtracting 5 from x. So my expression would be x minus 5. Okay, and once again, that only works for less than and more than, that you're going to change the order because I'm taking 5 from x. Now we're going to write each sentence as an equation. So an equation does have an equal sign. So we're working for those words is, equal to, equals. Okay. So once again, I always want to start looking for the operation. So it says twice the number of cars is 40. Now if you're not being careful and not using your chart, it could be kind of hard for you to find the operation. But we know twice represents what operation? Represents multiplication. And what are you multiplying? You're multiplying 2 twice. Okay, so it's twice the number of cars. Do I know what the number of cars are? No, I do not. This is my unknown. So I'm going to give that a variable, and I'm going to choose C because it's cars. Okay, then I have this word is. And if you remember, is means equal to 40. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to write out our equation. So I have twice the number of cars, so I'm going to put 2 times the number of cars, which is C, is, which is equals 40. Now, what's a more correct way to write 2 times c? A more correct way would be just 2c. Okay, we don't write that multiplication sign. And we press equals 40. And here is my equation. Once again, you're not solving it. You're just writing equations and expressions today. 175 students separated into n classes is 25. So my operation here is separated. If you look back, separated means I'm going to break up it into groups, which means I'm going to be using division. Okay, and what am I separating? I'm separating 175 students into n classes. So I'm going to go ahead and write out that part. So 175 divided by n. Okay, and then I have this word is, and is represents equals 25. Okay, so it's equals 25. Now what's another way to write division? It would be 175 over n equals 25. Okay, that's your division problem. All right, one more. So 4 more than 3 times a number is 14. So I have the words more than, which means I'm going to add, and I'm going to add 4 more than 3 times a number. So I have another operation. I have multiplication. Then I have my word is, which is my equals 14. Okay, so a number is my unknown. We can call that just n. I want you to read through this a couple times before you start writing your equation. So 4 more than 3 times a number is 14. So since it's more than, I'm adding that 4 to something. And what am I adding it to? I'm adding it to 3 times a number, which means it would be 3 times n. Plus 4 is, which is my equal sign, 14. Now we're going to clean this up again because we don't write 3 times n. We write 3n plus 4 equals 14. And once again, there's my equation. Okay, so you have to make sure you're being careful. You're reading these more than once. And then when you get done, make sure you read it and then look at your equation and make sure that they match up correctly. Okay? Hopefully this helps you out. As always, make sure you ask Mr. Collinger or myself questions tomorrow if you need more clarification. See you later. Thanks for watching.